Morning.
Good morning.
July 12th already. John DeWolf,
Here.
Richard Swezak,
Here.
Rob Lewandowski is not present. He did send in his comments for the review of everyone. DeAndrea here, Bob Doan,
Here.
Al Regina,
Here.
Ken Peterson,
Here.
Curtis Smith,
Here.
and Bob Don.
Present.
Well, not bad. We did well today. So we have good morning to Verinda. You're going to be here every month now with us?
She's yours now.
Good morning. Yep, I'm yours now. Barbara just gave me to you. No.
So that's good.
She's all smiles because
Yeah.
well, I'm happy to be here, and it will be a great learning curve if you can imagine 14 boards, right? I don't think in the history of the agency there's been one board coordinator for 14 boards.
Wow.
Never. So I will be taking on a pretty huge task, but I love working with professionals, and you know a little bit about my background. So I'm here to learn, to serve. You have the expert that will be around for 6 months. Glad she'll be around, and so it will be good. It will be good, and I think fast forward. I think this position will develop even more so things are not just contained, in one person, because that's just not doable for a lifetime, right?
Right.
So, but we certainly applaud Barbara's efforts and her great work she's done for the agency. So thank you.
All right. So your 14 boards, we meet on not every month. So do most of the boards meet every month or more than once?
Yeah, so I've completed the schedule. Something will be coming out to you, Chairman, and then to the rest of the board members for 2023 based on some legal advice I did receive from our legal director. But like I have a board that's meeting every month, and that doesn't include special meetings. And then other boards are a little bit more relaxed, every other. So, it can be a little strenuous in terms of not just the board meetings, but specials and hearings, right? Yeah, and the fact that we have to have a quorum. So, each board has its own craft level of professionalism that it brings to its trade. So, it's a unique position to be in, certainly to learn. So, yeah.
Okay, that's good. So I think that we can dispatch with our normal quick and dirty things that we do to keep everybody happy and back to work. Some of us who are still working. That was directed at you, Curtis.
Hey.
And Ken.
And Ken. No, Ken's on that list too now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you, both of you. Anyway, let's do that. Let's take care of that heavy land surveying list. Then we'll do our minutes, and then we'll listen to.
And Janita's here too.
Actually, oh, that's right. Let's do Janita first. We have Janita's summary of the investigations, complaints. So, welcome, Janita. What have you got to tell us?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. For the time frame from May 1st of 2022 to June 30th of 2022, the department received 2 new complaints on engineering, and we had one that was closed as a civil matter by the special investigator because they had adjudicated it in court, and a review of the case indicated that there were no statutes or violations on the part of the engineer, that it was strictly and solely a civil matter between the consumer and the engineer. So we had no violations, and they litigated the matter in court.
Okay. So that's the one on the chart here. That's it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Nothing else to report. So that's accepted. We appreciate it. Thank you.
No, and if you are all set, I will thank you and the board members
Okay.
for letting me go first. Verinda,
Always.
welcome aboard again. Barbara, good to see you. And I thank you all. So have a good day.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I think the next item on our agenda could be the minutes, which were for June 14th. I reviewed them myself. I didn't see any additions or corrections. Are there any to note?
Same here. I'll move approval.
Thank you, John.
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Robert. All those in favor of the motion to approve the minutes from June 14th as presented, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. That was quick and easy. And then we have some items that are relative to the exams. We do have a list under D1 of the applicants who passed the CBT engineering exams. We also have a list D2 of 4 new surveyors that passed the Connecticut state exam. They're listed on page 2 of our regular agenda. Those are for information. And then we have one surveying item on page 4, Pasquale Iannone, for review by the land surveyor members. Curtis, you want to take the lead?
Yeah, I make a motion for approval of Iannone in Class 8.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Ken. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to approve Pasquale Iannone for Class 8 exam, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing on that, motion carries. And I think that concludes the surveying aspect. It covered the minutes and it covered our complaints. So unless you have an interest in staying to listen, we appreciate your participation and certainly excused.
Okay.
Thank you
very
very
much.
Well, thank you very much.
Have a
Take
good
care.
month, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, folks.
That brings us to our regular agenda for Class 1 exam credit part 1. I reviewed the first 4 applicants, Brett, Gill, Golia, and Lamont. All state schools, 3 Yukon, 1 Central Connecticut. I would recommend approval. Is there a motion to accept my recommendation?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay. I'll
Thank you,
second.
Richard. Who will second that?
John.
Oh, thanks, John. Sorry. All those in favor of the motion to approve Brett through Lamont on page 3 of the agenda, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. And John DeWolf reviewed Butler, Higginbottom, and Maine for Class 1, credit part 1.
I move approval.
I'll second.
Thank you, Al. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. And the last 2 applicants, Pizzelli and Sullivan for Class 1, credit part 1, reviewed by Bob Doan.
I'm going to make a motion to approve both, but I'd like to point out that Bisgelli listed in his experience, he did some GPS surveying was part of his experience. And it seemed to just fit into construction supervision regarding pavement, et cetera. And so I didn't take that out as surveying, if you will.
Right. Probably doing layout for construction, but while supervising or
Yes,
inspecting,
yeah.
checking or whatever.
Mhm.
Not
So
that I
I
read the application, but yeah.
I will make a motion to approve both.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. Any further discussion on that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Then we have a group of applicants for Class 4 reciprocity. Colbert through Vintiatis on page 3. I reviewed those. I had 5 model law engineers out of the 8, 1 tech and 2 foreign degrees. Ironically, the foreign degree ended up with a master's and a PhD from MIT, and he has lapsed in June, Barbara. So if we can check the last one, Vintiautis, for current license. All other ones are good on my recommendation. So if there's a motion to accept my recommendation, I'd appreciate it. Colbert through Vintiautis, subject to verification of Mr. Vintiautis has lapsed in June.
So moved.
Thank you, Robert.
I'll second.
Thanks, Al. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Now, Rob Lewandowski was unable to attend at the last moment, but he reviewed Budathiki through Reyes and Schroeder and Sohn on page 4. So he recommended approval of all of them. They're all model law engineers, all good experience, all currently licensed, multiple, all in excess of 9 years on the job. So his recommendation is to approve. Is there a motion to accept this recommendation?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Richard.
I'll second.
Thanks, Bob. All those in favor of the motion to approve I can't get that one, Budathiki through Reyes and Schroeder through Sohn, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. And Richard Friesek has a large group of reciprocity applicants, Braga and Chapman, Connolly through Stanley on page 4 of our regular agenda.
Because I guess I'd like to start with Paul Alexander Fast. He had a degree from British Columbia, and it was deemed equivalent, but he did get his Principles of Engineering exam in Washington State, and they waived his fundamentals. So he did not take a fundamental exam. So being consistent with our policy that, we require both, exams to be taken and passed, that he does not necessarily qualify for, I guess, engineering license in the state of Connecticut.
What was the name on that one?
Fast,
Oh, Fast. Paul Fast?
yes. Because they indicated that he had more than 12 years of experience, so they waived his, fundamentals exam.
But otherwise had the undergraduate approved degree.
Yeah, yes, it was equivalent, yes, even though it was from British Columbia or Canada, so.
For over 20 years, we have not approved waiving of the first exam.
Yep.
I had a colleague who came under that,
Right,
and it was not a
Remember.
pleasant experience in the department afterward.
we remember. So you want to make a motion on that then, Paul? I mean, on
Yes,
Paul
yeah,
Fast?
in terms of, I'll make a motion that, Paul Fast, does not, I guess, has not passed the fundamentals of engineering, exam, and therefore does not meet the criteria as established by the state of Connecticut, board.
All right,
Second,
is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you, John. All those in favor of the motion to deny Paul Fast reciprocity due to the lack of a fundamental exam in accordance with our policy and regulations. All those in favor of the motion to deny, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing that, the motion carried to deny Mr. Paul A. Fast reciprocity. That leaves us with the remainder, Baga and Chapman, Connolly, Detweiler, and Gudreas through Stanley.
Okay, I guess I must have had, everybody's license that expired in June last
Yeah.
month. So I'll make a motion that we accept, the remainder of the applicants with the verification that Braga, Michalak, Santora, Smith, and Stanley be verified to have, current licenses.
Yep.
And I do want to just make one more statement in terms of John Narango. He has a Bachelor of Science in Engineering Technologies from Wentworth, and he also has a Master's of, Science in Civil Engineering from Wentworth. But he's still not model law. And, but he does have, almost 12 years of experience. So, so I just find that kind of interesting that, Wentworth still is not an acceptable, accredited university.
Don't they have a 5-year program too?
Well, like you said, he has, a bachelor's or, BS in engineering technologies plus a master's in civil engineering from Wentworth.
It's only because the National has this problem in trying to rationalize the acceptance of technology degrees. So they have a continuing debate at their meetings about whether or not the program is equivalent. And the practical experience that they claim is provided in a technology program seems to be, to me anyway, very valuable. And I don't know why the debate goes on, but we have it so that you have 7 years experience. You say he has 12, he's more than qualified under our
Right.
regulations.
Correct. And like you said, I kept looking to say, why is this guy?
Yeah,
not
it's just
qualified?
a silly debate,
Right.
in my opinion, but
But anyways, I'll make a motion for the remainder to be, acceptable.
okay. So
Second.
thank you, Robert. All those in favor of the motion to approve, subject to the verification of the 5 applicants, Braga, McCalloch, Santora, Smith, and Stanley, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Thank you, Richard. John DeWolf reviewed Burke through Steed on page 4 for class 4 reciprocity.
One of mine had a Bachelor of Technology. I forgot which one, but had far, far more than 7 years of experience. So my motion is to approve Burke through Steed with verification that Paul Moan is currently licensed. It expired in June.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Al. All those in favor of the motion to approve Burke through Steed, subject to verification of Paul Moan, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. And Bob Dunn reviewed the last group, Abdel Mesh through Tallman for class 4 reciprocity.
I make a motion to approve the group from Abdel Mesh to Tallman with the condition that Abdel Mesh be verified current licensure. His expired in June also.
Second,
Thanks, John. All those in favor of the motion to approve, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. And we have a group of class 9 licenses to approve: Anderson through Tuban and Joyce Johnson, actually. So, well, let's just take the first group, Anderson through Toban. Is there a motion to approve?
so move.
Thanks, John. Second?
Second.
Thanks, Robert. All those in favor of the motion to approve Anderson through Toban, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. So we move on to Joyce Johnson. Seamus Joyce Johnson. So the degree is not accredited. The applicant is advised that when applying in the future for the PE, he must show at least 48 hours of engineering courses in order to meet the education requirement. Meaning that he
It was an engineering, partially an engineering degree and a history of engineering. So when I looked to look it up through Yale only has one accredited program, and that's in chemical engineering. So I've already spoken to him and told him that that's what's going to happen in the future, that he probably does not have enough credit hours with engineering courses at this time.
So he's aware of it, so that's good.
Yes,
He passed the fundamentals, so
correct.
he's got something going for him, and then, that'll be good, but it may not move him to the next stage. Okay, that's
Exactly.
very fair.
How many credit hours does he have, Barbara?
I didn't know offhand, but it looked like he was lacking, I want to say maybe 10, 14. I couldn't remember how much it was, but it was, he has a little bit of time. He knows about it, and his letters is reflecting that information as well.
So he might do okay if he got a master's in engineering.
Correct. Yes,
That would be what I would recommend if he's that close.
yes, yes,
Be aware of it in the master's program to make sure, yeah.
right.
Okay, so
That's a good thing.
he's been advised appropriately. All
Yep.
those in favor of the motion to approve Joyce Johnson for Class 9 license, say aye. I mean, wait, we have to have a motion first. Sorry.
I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Robert. Got ahead of myself.
Second,
Thank you, Richard. Now, all those in favor of the motion to approve Joyce Johnson, say aye. Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Something unique every month, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Now we have one application for the corporate practice of professional engineering for SKAE, Engineering Consult Solutions, PC. Barbara has reviewed it and finds it to be in order. All those in favor, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Richard.
Second.
Thank you, Robert. All those in favor of the motion to approve SKAE Engineering Solutions, PC, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries.
Because I just wanted to mention the fact that I did get contacted by, I guess a lawyer who was representing an engineering firm out of Vermont. And that they had, engineers that were licensed in the state of Connecticut, but the corporation was not licensed in the state of Connecticut, and they've been doing business in the state of Connecticut by allowing their state of Connecticut, registered licensees to sign and seal drawings for projects that were in the state of Connecticut. And they are, I guess, in the process of applying for a corporate,
Correct.
certificate, so that, and I guess what we're gonna do is we're trying to determine whether, there's any back dues, required or not. And I guess Barb was gonna contact council and try to figure that out.
Yeah, which I'll get back to at the next meeting, because we have to discuss it, because back fees is usually for reinstatements. And they never had a license to begin with, but that's something I'm going to be discussing, or still going on and discussing with Paul Grabowski. In some cases, they were more forthright in coming forward and telling us, because in most cases, we missed it, or, there's just so many to check if corporations are actually registered with us, because of manpower and so forth to actually check, But as I said, I'm in contact with Paul Grabowski regarding that. So we should have something for the next meeting.
In the case of the individual presenting a design and signing it, how would we even know that it was involved with the
Exactly. Yeah.
corporate entity? Now they
Exactly.
want,
Right. Well, the only thing that happens is that, in terms of liability, the individual is responsible for the liability. In terms of
Exactly.
if there's a corporation is, responsible.
correct,
for
and
the
so
liability.
that's what I'm saying. We would
So-
not even be aware of it,
Exactly.
and we
That's
weren't,
correct.
obviously. So now they've said they want to be properly registered with the state. And my initial reaction in the thought process was, if these individuals were actually working for the corporate entity, they should be listing in the application or notarizing what it is that they did work on. And again, similar to the lapsed license, we want to reinstate for the period of the lapsed license to confirm that they were qualified to work and design, right? And to offer, so that they are responsible for their work.
Right.
And so I don't think we should be opposing their licensure. I just think that they should be forthright and forthcoming with what those individuals worked on during that period. You know, I don't know if it's 20 years or 2 years, but it should be fairly easy for them to identify if it was
Right.
just the individuals.
Yeah.
All right, well, we still have 2 applicants on the supplemental agenda, Moyer and Punati, reviewed by Richard Swezak for Class 4 reciprocity.
I did review those, and they are model law, and I would make a recommendation that we accept their applications.
Thank you, Richard. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Robert. All those in favor of the motion to approve Class 4 reciprocity for Moyer and Punati, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Bob Doan reviewed Habib and Scanlon for reinstatement of licenses. Both continuously licensed in another state.
I make a motion to approve the reinstatement. Habib was continually licensed in New Jersey and Scanlon in Massachusetts. And we have their notarized letters. So I make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Al. All those in favor of the motion to approve reinstatement for Habib and Scanlon, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Tony, can I ask a general question? I don't want to ruin your chance of the shortest meeting on record, but if we could, moving forward on items like Joyce Johnson and the corporate practice, will Verenda be doing that when Barbara's no longer with us?
Reviewing the corporate entities, yeah.
No, I won't be reviewing anything. Barbara will continue to do that piece. I will be sending out the agenda request for agenda items. I will be typing minutes, sending you the draft, that kind of thing, and planning all of the board meetings and hearings and things like that. But Barbara will do that review process for you.
And then somebody else will take over the process as well after me. So
After
yeah,
you?
Verinda, yeah,
Oh.
so as Verinda mentioned, she's handling that aspect, but the applications and all that will still be handled by licensed services or whoever takes over my position after.
And Verinda has access to legal.
Yes, I do.
Yes,
So that's where the our matrix for the various corporate entities that have to be considered in the matrix that was set up, whether it's accurate or not, whether it remains accurate or not, well, you need to know, yeah.
Absolutely. So Mr. Chairman, if you have any legal concerns about, incorporation, anything that should be, sent to a staff attorney, just send that directly to me. The
Right.
board can also respond to me, and then I can get that information and relay it off the record via email or by telephone. And then we can present it as an agenda item as well for discussion.
Right. So that, I think that's Bob's point, is that we're probably not qualified individually to evaluate the application versus the Secretary of State and then the corporate percentages of ownership, et cetera. That's what we're concerned about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything
All
else?
right. Thank you, Verinda.
Absolutely. And just to tag on to Mr. Doan's thought in terms of the incorporation, should I vet that out for you off the record, just in terms of a comfort level? I know we've taken a motion, we've carried it, it's been approved, but do you want that to just start moving forward? If we have a corporation, we should do that vetting behind the scenes.
I think that's what Barbara
Yeah.
has
Okay.
been taken care of, because the documents that we have typically received are sufficient for Barbara to review and render a decision.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
Brenda, it's just that it's under certain entities of a corporation, whether LLC, LP, whatever,
Mhm, mhm.
there are requirements of ownership and licensure that we find sometimes difficult to follow on the matrix. So if the legal department compares them to the statute, after a while, they've got it all down and recognize what the ownership is.
And we'll make sure we continue to do that
Yeah,
if that
that's
becomes
good.
an agenda item, okay?
That's a big help, yes. Okay, is there any other new business, old business, discussion items? Our next meeting is,
August
A month.
9th. August 9th.
right, okay,
A motion to adjourn.
thank you, Al.
Second. If you
All right,
need a second, I'm not sure.
Got to get it right here now. Come on.
All right, everybody, all those in favor of the motion to adjourn at 9:32, the 33, say aye. Aye,
Aye.
any opposed? Thank you very much.
All
Have a
right.
good
Thank
month,
you.
Have
everyone.
a good week.
Have a
Thank you,
great
everybody.
month.
All right.
See you August
care.
9th.
Okay.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
The